next star in the making, which we've said for weeks to come. Sammy Guevara, man. I was going back and forth, man. I almost picked him as my top performer of the night, even though he'd even stepped foot in the ring in terms of an action
That was
part.
the only thing that stopped me because I hear you. It was a big night for him.
Sammy Guevara elevated his character tenfold tonight. He stood up to MJF, punched MJF, walked out on the inner circle, and that is breaking news. That is a huge story. And then he walked out of the babyface tunnel.
You're always paying
So
attention to that tunnel. You
those
always
little
are.
things. I mean, that's what AEW does.
You're right.
They're doing those tunnel, the babyface tunnel and the heel tunnel, and so it's kind of cues because Young Bucks kind of kept going back and forth, and they talked about it on BTE. They were kind of like, "Oh, are we going out of the babyface tunnel or the heel tunnel?" So whatever.
You're
But
right, though.
I loved that segment. Catching MJF being the typical sleazer he is, trying to record Sammy and then giving him the low, the punch to the ribs, or it almost looked like a low blow. It was outstanding. And then we lead into the match. And so, what do you think of the pre-promo before we talk about the match?
I loved it. I'm gonna say a couple things, and we've emphasized this before. If you can hold your own against MJF in a promo battle, you're onto something, right? Like, I just got done talking about what an incredible high flyer Pac is, and we know what Sammy can do in the ring. This kid, he's incredibly exciting, and I think that a lot of people are going to be big fans of his for a long, long time. I think that Sammy's got a bright future ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
But to be showcased as an intellectual equal of the master manipulator that is MJF, it's really refreshing. It's refreshing to show, like, so often as wrestling fans, a lot of these times the baby faces a lot of times these characters are dumb, and they're just, like the storytelling of you could poke holes in the logic of this stuff.
True.
They did a nice job, even with little, like you just talked about the tunnel. But I even loved with Sammy saying, no, cameraman, you stay here. Like little, like, oh, well, oftentimes with these backstage segments, you're left wondering, the camera, do they not know that a camera guy is here?
Like it's like a hidden camera or something.
Like a hidden camera? No, AEW does not insult the intelligence of their fans, and I really enjoy that. I think that they're hitting the demo really, really well because they reward you for paying attention. They reward you for they reward you for paying attention. They reward you for following the breadcrumbs. They are always doing little nuances, little things that you got to go back and watch. You have to go back and see. And I thought this was a great example. Even something as simple as the Inner Circle's reaction to MJF kind of asking them all to leave. If you go back to the past segments, MJF having private time with Santana Ortiz and Wardlow and Hager, when Sammy left last time and Jericho chased him out of the ring, it's playing into the whole scenario. Is MJF, does he have the Inner Circle behind him now? And it is Sammy on the outside looking in. This is going to be an interesting way that they go forward with this story. I'm really intrigued by it.
I think it's going to lead to some amazing stuff, and we are very high on Sammy Guevara. Some great things, and turning babyface is and kind of going against the toughest and the most popular faction in wrestling right now. It's going to be great, and it's just going to elevate his star power even more. And